All right, class. So today we are working on guided practice problems. This week, hold on, give me 1 second. Someone needed the guided practice. You don't have this page right here. You need this? Okay, hold on. But you want a regular copy? Okay. All right. So this week we've been working on estimating roots. We've already did the day one. Then we worked on estimating roots and simplifying roots, writing it in radical form, and then writing it in decimal form. So we round to the nearest whole number, and then we simplified it by writing it in radical form, and then using the calculator to find the decimal form. Okay. And then Tuesday, we started working on square roots and cube roots, and we're going to continue to work on square roots and cube roots. We so far just worked on square roots, and then we'll get to cube roots here in a minute, okay? So when you're looking for the square root of a number, what you're looking for is one number that can be multiplied times itself to give you the number that's under the radical. All right, so here's where we're going to solve an equation. Okay, so this is the equation that we have right here. It is x squared is equal to 100. In order to get rid of this squared, the opposite of squaring a number is finding the square root. So we're going to find the square root on both sides. So this is what we do to solve problems that look like this. We find the square root on both sides. The square root of x squared is just x. Okay? And then we find the square root of 100. One number can be multiplied times itself to give you 100, Jordan? 10. Very good. So my answer is going to be positive 10, or it could be negative 10, because positive 10 times positive 10 is equal to a positive 100, and negative 10 times negative 10 is also equal to a positive 100. Okay? Now let's do the next one. I'm going to pause for the calls to make sure that you understand. Are there any questions about that? Okay, we're going to keep moving. All right, so let's look at p to the second power. Okay. We're doing the same thing we did above. In order to solve p to the second power, to find the value of p in this equation, the opposite of squaring a number is finding the square root of a number. So we're going to find the square root on both sides. So the square root of p to the second power is just p. Why? Because p times p is p. So p multiplied times itself will give you p to the second power. So the square root of p squared is just p. Bring down the equal sign just like we did up here. And now we're looking for the square root of 144. What's the square root of 144? Somebody different. Jordan's been answering all of them, y'all. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. 12. Good job. So it's either going to be a positive 12 or a negative 12. Why? Because positive 12 times a positive 12 is a positive 144. And a negative 12 times a negative 12 is also a positive 144. So you have two answers there. Okay. All right. See if you can do number 5 on your own. You're going to do number 5 just like you've done number 3 and number 4. And I'm going to pause for the calls. Please write your answer in the chat. Both answers, okay? Good deal. All right. So now let's look at this one. Make sure you show your work, guys, okay? So we're going to do the same thing we did in the other problems to solve for just Q. To get rid of the square, the opposite of squaring a number is finding the square root. So we're going to find the square root on both sides. The square root of q to the second power is just q, okay? Bring down the equal sign. Now we're going to find the square root of 225. Some of us put 12, but remember the square root of 144 is 12, okay? Because 12 times 12 is 144. So it's not going to be 12, but this time it's going to be 15. Why? Because 15 times 15 is 225. So we got a positive 15 or a negative 15. Why is it positive and negative, Miss Reyes? Great question. Because when you multiply positive 15 times itself, which is positive 15, you're going to get a positive 225. You're also going to get a positive 225 when you multiply a negative 15 times itself, which is a negative 15. That's still going to give you that positive 225. Okay? So great job on that. All right. A lot of people got that right. So great job. Very good, Lillian. Very good. Okay. All right. Let's keep it going. Okay. I'm going to do this one with you. And so you're able to do the other ones on your own. So let's see how we do this. This is a fraction. We do it the exact same way. Okay. So we have to find the square root on both sides. Okay. So the square root of x squared is just x. Bring down the equal sign just like you did in the previous problems. Now you're going to find the square root of 4 and then the square root of 9. The square root of 4 is what? What's the square root of 4? We need to learn those perfect squares by heart. Jordan? 2. Very good.
And
so 2 is on the top.
Y'all have a list of those. We took them in our notes just in the last week, I want to say. So those are square roots that you have got to memorize.
Okay. All right. So now we got to do the square root of 9. What's the square root of 9? Somebody different. She's killing it. What's the square root of 9, y'all? 3. Good. So the bottom number is 3. Okay. All right. Okay. So now let's do number 7. Actually, you do number 7 on your own to see how you can see if you can come up with an answer for number 7. Okay. And I'm gonna pause for the calls. All right. So let's see what we got. Here we're going to find the square root on both sides. Okay. So the square root of y to the second power is just y. Bring down the equal sign. And then here, you do the square root of 16 and then the square root of 64. What's the square root of 16? Yes, 4. So we got 4 on the top. Okay. And then what's the square root of 64? Yes, Gregory. What's 7 times 7? What's 7? What's 7 times 7? It's 49, so it's not 49. Try again. Give me another number. You said 7 times 7 is 49. What about 8 times 8? What's 8 times 8, y'all? There you go. 64, babe. So it's going to be 8.
Y'all have that list in front of you that we wrote out not too long ago.
That is a great idea, Miss Moore. You guys
have it out.
You should have the list out. So that way you don't the list we wrote. I don't that is from what did we do that? 412? No. Or did we do it before the break?
I think it was right before break, wasn't it?
So that is 27 or 26? Yeah, I don't know.
Just a few class periods ago.
Yep. Hey, Talia.
And one thing that's beneficial, guys, I notice a lot of you, when you're writing your interactive notebook stuff, you're just using just individual pieces of paper for that. It's kind of handy to have a notebook like Miss Reyes, just to have them all in sequential order.
It is. All right, we're going to reduce this fraction. So when we reduce the fraction, what does that give us? Yes. That gives us, what'd you say? We got 2 over 4, and then what? 1/2. Very good. Good job. A lot of people had that too. Some of us had this, which is not wrong. Let's just reduce it, okay? It's not wrong at all. Great job. Okay. See if you can do number 8, please. Okay. All right. So here we're going to find the square root on both sides. So this gives us z. Okay, is equal to, what's the square root of 25? 5. Good job. Then what's the square root of 49? 7. Excellent job. Okay, very good. All right, so we had quite a few people. Very good, Jonathan. That's okay, baby. All right, let's keep going. Let's do this one. It says find the side of the square that has an area of 64. So we're going to do the same thing. Guys, the formula for area of a square is A is equal to S to the second power. Okay? A is equal to S to the second power. They give you what A is. The area is 64. So replace A with 64. So we put 64 here is equal to S to the second power. You're trying to figure out what S is. What is one of these side links? You know they're all the same because it's a square. So what is this side length? Okay, when the area is 64. So you're going to find the square root on both sides so you can figure out what S is equal to. Get S by itself. The opposite of squaring a number is finding the square root. So here what we do, what's the square root of 64? It is 8. So your side length is going to be 8. Any questions about that? Okay. All right. See if you can do number 10 on your own and put the answer in the chat. You're welcome. All right. Any questions about how we got that? All right, let's keep it going, okay? All right. We need our composition notebook because your teacher forgot to put cube root in there. So we have to do some practice on cube roots. So we're going to page 4 in our composition notebook. And the title of this page is going to be cube roots. This is going to be short, very, very short. All right, here in the corner, we're going to put Q4. This is going to be page 4. Today's date is 4/15/21. Oh, Lord. Make sure I get that one back. All right. So we're going to do cube roots, okay, guys? That's the title. Okay. The symbol for cube root looks like this. It has a little 3 in the corner. The square root had no number in the corner, but the cube root has a little 3 in the corner of the check. This is the symbol for cube root. Okay. This is your cube root symbol. To find the cube root, means to find one number that can be multiplied times itself two other times, which is a total of 3. Okay, it's written 3 times, to get the number under the cube root. Okay. And I'll pause for the calls. There's a question in the chat, I believe. Okay, so this is how to find the cube root of a number. These are let's do our perfect cube roots first. Let's have our calculator handy because it's not as easy as the square root. It's a little bit more numbers that we have to multiply, okay? So let's do our first one, of course, is 1 times 1 times 1 We know that 1 times 1 times 1 is equal to 1, okay? And therefore, the cube root of 1 is equal to 1. And how do we know that? Because 1 times itself 2 other times, which is a total of 3 here, is equal to 1, the number under the cube root sign. So now let's do the next perfect cube root, and I need to label these as perfect cube roots. Okay. The next one is going to be 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, so look at what that is. We know 2 times 2, we'll have, if you want to type it in your calculator, you can. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. And then 4 times 2 is going to be what? 8. So the cube root of 8 is equal to 2 because 2 times 2 times 2, written 3 times, is equal to 8. So this is another perfect cube root. Let's do the next one. 3 times 3 times 3. Okay? So we got 3 times 3 is 9. What's 9 times 3? 27. Good job, babe. So the cube root of 27 is equal to what number? 3. Because 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27. These are our perfect cube roots right here. Okay? These are our perfect cube roots right here. Okay? All right. So let's do the next one. 4 times 4 times 4. Okay? We got 4 times 4 is going to be 16. And then what's 16 times 4? Anybody? 64. Good job. Don't forget, you can pull out your calculator and use, okay? So the cube root of 64 is equal to what number? 4. Good job. 4. Okay? Let's do the next. Let's create the next perfect square cube root, sorry. 5 times 5 times 5. Okay? We got 5 times 5 is 25. What's 25 times 5? 125. Very good. That's 5 quarters. So the cube root of 125 is equal to what number? 5. Okay? All right. Let's do 2 more, okay? 6 times 6 times 6. Ooh, that's crazy, right? 6 times 6 is what? 36. And what's 36 times 6? Say again, baby. 216. Yep, that's good, baby. So the cube root of 216 is what? 6. Okay, one more. 7 times 7 times 7. Okay, got 7 times 7 times 7. Anybody get that one? 343. So the cube root of 343 is equal to 7. Okay? Any questions about that? All right. So now let's do a couple of problems. Let's do the cube root. Okay. Let's do the cube root. Let's do let's see. 512. What's the cube root of 512? What do we think it is? It is 8. It is 8. Okay. Let's do this one. The cube root of 729. What's the cube root of 729? The internet. Just push on the internet. Yep. Very good. It is 9. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can do this. Got a couple of those. Let's see if we can solve this. Let's say, suppose we have x to the third power is equal to 8. Let's look and see how we do this now. In order to get rid of this to the third power, the opposite of it is to do the cube root. So we're going to do the cube root on each side. We're going to do the cube root on each side. So when we do the cube root here, of course, this cancels out. And this gives us just that x is equal to, what's the cube root of 8? What's the cube root of 8? 2. So our answer is 2. Okay. See if you can do this one. Let's do y to the third power. Same kind of problem. We just use a different letter. And let's do 216. See if you can do this on your own and give me an answer in the chat. I'm going to pause for the calls. Okay, let's see who's got this right. So the opposite of cubing a number is finding the cube root. So you have to find the cube root on both sides. So now what's the cube root of y to the third power? This cancels out. It's just y. Okay. What's the cube root of 216? Look up here. We did the cube root of 216, and it is 6. So 6 is our answer here. How do we know that? Because 6 times 6 times 6 is equal to 216. I figured that. Yeah. I figured that. Okay. Any questions about that? All right, we're gonna do one more right here, and then we're gonna move on, okay? Let's do a to the third power is equal to, and let's do 1,000. See what we get. Pause for the calls, okay? All right, I'm gonna keep it going. I didn't see any hand raises, okay? All right, so this first section says, write these decimals as fractions. So to write a decimal as a fraction, all you're really doing is you're going to take the number, the number itself is the numerator. So whatever the number is behind the decimal is the numerator. That's what goes on top. Okay? And the bottom number is going to be the place value of the last number. Okay. So that means I'm gonna put it over here. So that means if put my place values, just use a number. This place value right here is the 10th place. So if the last number is in the 10th place, you use the number 10 as the bottom number. This place value, if it's 2 spaces behind the decimal, is the hundredths place. So that means that if it's 2 spaces behind the decimal, you put 100 as the bottom, as the denominator. The next place value, if the last number is 3 spaces behind the decimal, this is the thousandths place. And that's when you put 1,000 as the bottom number. Sometimes we don't get this far, but we'll still write it anyway, is the 10,000ths place. THS. Okay? And that's when you put 10,000 as the bottom number if your last number is here. And then after you do that, you just reduce. Make sure you reduce your fraction. Okay? reduce your fraction. And I'll pause for the calls, okay? Let's look at the first example. Slide it over a little bit. So this first example is 3. That's the top number. And it's only one space behind the decimal, so that's tenths. So that's going to be 10. So my answer is 3/10. Make sure that 3/10 is reduced. If you, in your calculator, if you want to reduce a fraction, you forgot how to reduce a fraction, you go here, you press 3 divided by 10, and then you press the math button, and you see where it says fraction, and then you just enter 2 times. And do you see how it didn't change? That means it's reduced. That's how you reduce a fraction to calculator if you forgot. Again, that's math, and then enter. Math, enter. The math button is right under the alpha button. Okay? All right, so let's do the next one. The number behind the decimal is 5, so that's the top number. That's my numerator. And it's one space behind the decimal, so that's the tenths place. So it's going to be 10 here. And then the last step is to reduce. So when I reduce this, what do I get? Everybody, what do I get when I reduce that fraction? Somebody said it. What do I divide both the top and the bottom by? Or guys, if I don't know how to do that, I type, thank you, very good. So we got 5 divided by 10 is the fraction. Math, enter. And somebody said it right. They said 1/2. Great job. Okay. All right. See if you can do the next one on your own real quickly. Write the fraction in the chat. I'll pause for the calls. Okay, good people. Look at this one. There's one space. It's a 6 behind the decimal, so 6 is my top number. Okay. It's one space behind the decimal, so I'm going to put a 10. I'm going to reduce this fraction. Remember, to reduce, I can just press 6 divided by 10 and press math and enter twice. And that gives me 3/5. Okay. This is my answer here. Now I'm going to do this. This number behind the decimal is a 2. So this is 2. It's 2 spaces behind the decimal, so it's the hundredths place. So I'm going to put 100 here. It's 2 spaces behind the decimal, so it's the hundredths place. So I put 100 there, and I reduce. Okay, remember, if I don't know how to reduce, I can use my calculator. 2 divided by 100, math, enter, and that's 1/50. Okay, see if you can do this next one on your own, the next 2. See if you can do those. Put your answer in the chat. All right, so because of the time, I'm just going to go ahead and go through it real quickly. This is a 5 behind the decimal, so 5 is my top number. The last is 2 spaces behind the decimal, so that's 100. So 100 is my bottom number. When I reduce it, I type in 5 divided by 100. That's the fraction. I press math, enter. So that's 1/20. Okay. Here is 25 behind the decimal. So that's my top number is 25. It's 2 spaces behind the decimal. So that's 100. When I reduce this, if I don't know how to do that and I do it in the calculator, that's 25 divided by 100. That's math, enter, and that gives me 1/4. Okay? Any questions about how I do that? Please do the rest of these on your own. It's only 2 left, and we'll come back and finish up on Friday, okay? Questions, comments, or concerns before I stop the video? Jordan, very good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, guys. If you have questions, please feel free to text, and the video will be on our page. So if I forget to post the video, it'll be on our page. I'm going to try to remember to do that today. I'm so sorry. I've been slacking on that here lately. but I'll try to remember to get that out to you and remind, okay? All right, guys, have a great day.